Hello and welcome to the London Club, and this video looking at the 5 rules penalties that every golfer really needs to avoid. And these are all things that are careless mistakes that golfers might make, and I think if you play the game for long enough, over enough years, you'll probably end up making a few of these mistakes at some point, and they can cost you penalty shots, but hopefully after watching this video you'll be able to avoid them. Right, let's head out now onto the Heritage course here at the London Club and look at our first golf rules mistake. Okay, so the first one on our list relates to equipment, and in particular these things, your laser rangefinders. Now, I've already zapped the flag here, and I found out that it's 199 yards. We're on the 17th hole of the Heritage course at the London Club. It's 199, but it's downhill, and this tells me it's playing 192.
Yeah.
Very handy in practice.
Yes.
But
if you're at this stage of a round in a competition, and you'd had that slope function on for the whole round, I'm afraid you would be disqualified.
Oh no, I'm out.
Yeah. Rule 4.3a gives you one strike and you're out almost. The first offence, first breach, whatever you want to call it, of leaving the slope function on is a 2-shot penalty or a loss of hole in match play. But if you then zap another yardage on the next hole, that second offence and any ones beyond that mean you are no longer.
You're a goner.
You are no longer playing in this competition.
Oh no, and so you've got to be careful because on the side of the rangefinders is often a little switch that you can toggle on and off. Here it says slope edition when it's in slope. I'd need to just push that down. Now I'm out of slope and I can use this in competition. It's the sort of thing that you can accidentally leave on.
You can, and you know, if you realise too late, then it is, as you say, bad news.
Yes, beware. Okay, so this one, Jez, is really carelessness, isn't it?
Carelessness, lack of patience, lack of ability to control the putter, I suppose, really, as well.
Which is one of my problems.
Yes.
Talk me through what's going on here.
Well, we're talking about a scenario on the putting green. Both balls are on the putting green in stroke play. You putt and you hit another ball at rest because someone's raking a bunker and faffing around somewhere, and you
right,
think,
you haven't asked them to mark it.
You haven't asked them to mark it. You're pretty sure you're not going to hit it, and then the thing goes off in your hands and you do hit it.
Yeah, so it's just an avoidable mistake, but it can cost you, can't it?
It costs you 2 shots in stroke play. You have to then replace the ball that was struck where it was. Your ball stays where it is. So I guess that may help you perhaps in a way, in that it would have stopped it going further past the hole, but you've cost yourself.
And in match play?
In match play, no penalty. Again,
okay.
The ball is replaced and everyone just carries on with their business as if nothing happened.
A lot of these, just be wary of what could potentially happen in a situation like this. If there is another ball somewhere near the hole, then ask that player to mark it.
Definitely, because it's a needless shot given away just like that.
Okay, so for this one, I'm going to talk you through the following scenario, which I think is probably fairly common, actually.
Definitely, yeah.
This is just to the right of the 17th green, quite heavy rough around here. Let's imagine I've blazed my tee shot out to the right and I'm in here somewhere. And I come down and I see a golf ball in the rough. I can see it's a Titleist. Fantastic, mine's a Titleist. Brilliant, it's exactly where I think it is, so I'm going to play it. What am I in danger of doing here, Jez?
Well, I think people do this quite a lot, don't they? You're in danger of playing a wrong ball. I think maybe people are so relieved they found a ball where they think theirs was going to be that they don't perhaps follow the checking procedures carefully enough before then playing it.
Okay, so that begs the question then, what is the checking procedure? So I come down,
yep.
Instead of just going off to my golf bag to grab a club, I'm going to actually have a look at this, but how do I do it?
Okay, so you can't see that it's yours from where it's lying. You can't see the marking, so you're allowed to lift it to identify it, but you must mark the position of the ball first.
With T-peg?
T-peg, ideal. Lift it up, check it's yours. You can't clean it other than the extent necessary to be able to identify it as yours. There's nothing on that one anyway.
Pop it back
down and then play on if it is indeed yours. But if it isn't yours, that's when we run into trouble. So if you haven't gone through that checking procedure and just gone ahead and played it.
Yeah, and so quickly, Jez, what's the penalty for playing a wrong ball?
Okay, well the penalty is the general penalty. So in match play it would be loss of hole.
Right.
In stroke play it would be 2 shots, so it's quite severe. But you also have to then correct the error in a timely fashion in stroke play, and that means before you hit your tee shot on the next hole, or if it's the last hole, before you return your scorecard.
Okay.
And if you don't correct your error in time, I'm afraid it's the old DQ.
Oh dear. So, I mean, beware. In scenarios like this, it is possible that you could play a wrong ball and it would be incredibly frustrating to get penalised for that, so watch out. Okay, so we've manufactured a situation here, so you're going to have to go with us a bit on this, but it's not uncommon and it's well worth knowing. So my golf ball is on the edge of the collar and the fairway. There's a loose impediment, a twig, next to it. So I'm going to move that twig.
Yes.
Because I know that I can, under the rules, I can move loose impediments.
You can, but in this case it was perhaps an unwise thing to do because your ball has now moved.
It's moved an inch.
It has. Now I think a lot of people now, for various reasons, think that there's no penalty for accidental movement of your ball in the general area of the golf course, which is where we are, fairway, rough, fringe, whatever, but there is still a penalty if you cause your ball to move, and in that scenario there, it was clearly your movement of the twig that made the ball move, therefore you are penalised 1 stroke.
Ouch.
And you must put the ball back where it was.
Why the confusion, do you think?
Well, I think because you're no longer penalised for accidental movement of the ball on the putting green. You're no longer penalised for accidental movement of the ball when you're searching for it. I think people have maybe read too much into that and think that you can actually just accidentally move your ball anywhere and it's fine, just replace it, carry on. Well, you do replace it and carry on, but there is a 1-stroke penalty accompanying it.
Yes, so be careful. Again, like all of these, just be careful of what you're doing. Make sure that that loose impediment that you're about to move is not going to cause the ball to move. Then you should be fine. So this one is all about something you have to do on your scorecard after your round. Jez, what are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, the critical thing we're looking at here is that you must sign the scorecard to attest the score that you've just compiled. I guess sometimes you come off the course, you're a bit flustered, you've made a mess of the last, someone distracts you when you're on the way to put
it's
the
hot,
card
you want
in,
a drink.
Your mind's not quite there and suddenly the card's in the box without your signature on it, and then you could have played your heart out for 4 hours and it will all be to no avail because you will be disqualified.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think the more we head down this route of a lot of us using apps for scoring, maybe people get out of the kind of mindset of filling out a sort of an old-fashioned scorecard, as it were. But there are going to be tournaments when you need to do it, and if you do it, then you need to put your signature on it.
You do.
And the other thing, Jez, is with the individual scores, like the main thing, what else do you need to do?
Well, I mean, you've also got to make sure your marker has signed it and that your handicap is correct, so you're signing to say you played off the correct handicap. And then beyond that, the gross scores, you've got to make sure they're correct for each individual hole. You don't have to do any of the maths.
Okay.
That's not your responsibility. And the one to be really wary of here is you signing for a score on an individual hole that is lower than that which you actually achieved.
Because if you do that...
If you do that again, I'm afraid it's 4 fruitless hours and the big DQ against your name.
Yeah, so as with a lot of these, just make sure you take that care and attention. Your scorecard is a very valuable thing. If you get it wrong, it could be really costly. So there you have it. That's a look at our 5 rules penalties golfers really need to avoid. If you think there's anything probably more important actually in there that people miss out and the sort of careless mistakes, rules related, that they might make on the golf course, leave some comments below. If you've liked the video, please do hit the like button as well. But that's it for now from the London Club. We'll see you next time.